When the police lights flashed outside my driveway that night, painting my front porch in blue and red, I realized just how far the HOA was willing to go, how much they wanted to control every little piece of our lives, right down to the handle on my garage door. My security camera caught someone in a hoodie, trying that handle like they owned the place, the same garage the HOA had been obsessed with for months. Up until that moment, I actually believed I could solve this mess with reason, with paperwork and polite emails, maybe a little sarcasm thrown in for flavor. But as those lights danced across my door, it hit me. This was no longer about rules. This was about control, and there was no way I was giving up mine without a fight. It all kicked off on a completely normal Wednesday. I was halfway through my coffee, black, a little burnt, the way I like it, when this knock rattles the door. Not your typical neighborly knock, either. No, this one was sharp, rehearsed. Like someone practicing for a police raid. 3 raps, pause, 3 more, almost made me laugh. I open up, and there he stands. Brandon, the so-called CEO of our HOA, in his crisp golf shirt with the HOA logo stitched over his heart, clipboard raised like a badge, name tag shining like it actually meant something. His grin said, "I own you." Even though his shoes said he's never done a hard day's work. "Good morning," he starts, already angling past the threshold. "We're going to need full access to your garage for the next year." "Excuse me?" "Congratulations on your sale," he adds. "The board noticed you sold your car, so your garage is now considered and used under our community sharing clause. We'll be reallocating it for neighborhood parking." I honestly thought he was joking, laughed right in his face, couldn't help it. He kept going, flipping that clipboard open like he was reading the weather. "We'll install a keypad, give codes to approved residents. It's for the good of the community. Don't worry, you still keep your front door." For a second I just stared, weighing whether I should bust out laughing again or just slam the door. "You're not getting my garage," I finally said, voice flat. "It's deeded property. You can't just take it because I went a week without a car." He hit me with that smug, rubber-stamped smile only people drunk on fake power can manage. The board unanimously agreed. "It's official." "Well, consider this my official no." Door shut. 5 minutes later, an email pops up, subject line, "Voluntary Garage Access Program. Mandatory participation." That alone almost gave me a stroke. That night, I parked a rental in my garage, just to make a point, staring at the walls I'd painted myself years ago, wondering if this was what insanity felt like. I work in compliance for a living, right? I know the difference between legal and legal because I say so. So I printed every HOA document I could find, highlighted every clause about ownership, privacy, access, and then set up a camera, half expecting nothing, but fully expecting the worst, you know what I mean? Next morning, blue tape on the door. Garage keypad installation scheduled Friday, 8 a.m., 12 p.m. And that was it. The moment I stopped playing defense, I crashed the next board meeting, walked right into that stale, sweet-smelling community hall, smelled like sheet cake and bad decisions. There they were, Mara, our Ice Queen president, Kelly, who smiled like she was running for mayor, Dax, glued to his phone, and, of course, Brandon, CEO of the cul-de-sac. "I'd like to discuss this garage situation," I said. Mara flashed that pageant winner smile. "It's not a situation. It's an initiative." I dropped their own email on the table. "Your CC and RS forbid this. This is trespassing, it's a liability, and it's illegal." Brandon leaned in, all fake concern. "We're just solving a parking problem. Why can't you be constructive? You could try enforcing your existing rules instead of making up new ones," I said. "Or, amend the CC and RS legally. But you don't get to take my garage because it's easy." Silence hung in the air. Mara finally sighed. "Maybe you shouldn't be so quick to say no. Neighbors help neighbors." I shot back. "Not by breaking into their homes." And I walked out, heart pounding but steady. But 2 days later, my camera caught Brandon and Dax in my driveway. Clipboard, tape measure, the works. I opened the door. "You planning to install something after I told you no?" Brandon just smirked. "We're just taking measurements. You're on my property. Sidewalk now. Don't be spiteful," he said. "I'm saving you from a lawsuit." Sidewalk. They backed up, barely. That night, I sent the most satisfying email of my life. A cease and desist quoting state law. HOA code, the works. CC to the HOA's lawyer. Next day, Owen from management replied, apologizing for any confusion, but added, voluntary non-participation may result in reassessment. That's HOA 4. Do what we want or we'll punish you. Yeah, that happened. But it wasn't just me. Soon, neighbors started reaching out. Trina, who turned her garage into a gym, said they targeted her, too. Mr. Hollis, the veteran down the street, got a letter about his tool shed. So, I posted on the community board, deeded garages are private property. Anyone tries to enter without consent, that's trespassing. You have rights. Ask me for the exact clauses. My inbox blew up. People were livid. And just like that, the HOA's initiative started to collapse under the weight of attention. A few days later, Mara emailed everyone. The garage initiative is paused pending legal review. Please remain kind and respectful. That be kind line killed me. That's what people in power say when they realize they're about to lose it. But I wasn't done. I filed a request for all records, votes, invoices, emails. Owen gave me a binder half full of blank pages, classic, but tucked inside were invoices for keypad devices, signed off by Brandon alone, no board vote, no second signature. There was even an email where Brandon tried to get a universal bypass code from the gate contractor, who thankfully reported him. I'd spent weeks fighting neighbors for something that was already mine. I was exhausted, ready to give up. But then Arya, Mr. Hollis's daughter, messaged me. Someone broke into Dad's mailbox. Found your mail inside. That was it, the final straw. I reported it to the postal inspector and copied the HOA attorney for good measure. At the next HOA meeting, the room was packed. Trina spoke up. No one's entitled to my property because they can't manage their own. Mr. Hollis followed, steady and sharp. Calling theft neighborly doesn't make it any less theft. Someone in the back shouted, "Stop calling yourself CEO, Brandon." The room erupted. Mara banged her tiny gavel, voice trembling, and called an executive session to evaluate management. Performance. Translation, Brandon was toast. A few days later, Mara and Kelly showed up at my door with a lawyer, humbled, like kids caught sneaking cookies. The garage program is terminated. The lawyer said, keypads are being removed. Management company's authority is suspended pending audit. Who's on the audit? I asked. You can be, he said. So I joined. Me, Trina, and Miguel, a retired accountant who'd rather count receipts than see the sun. We went through every document. Brandon had burned over $3,000 without board approval. The meeting that started all this was noticed. Less than 24 hours ahead. Illegal. The audit's verdict? Terminate the management company. Void all keypad purchases. Report Brandon's violations to the state. When the board voted, the room went quiet. Then everyone finally exhaled, like we'd all been holding our breath. A couple days later, Brandon knocked on my door. No logo, no clipboard, just a manila envelope. Transition materials? He muttered. No hard feelings. Hard lessons, I replied. Weeks later, the postal inspector confirmed what I already knew. Tyler, the HOA's golden boy, was the one breaking into mailboxes. Said he was helping the HOA. He got fined, and his punishment? Running a booth on identity theft prevention at the community fair. Talk about karma. After that, everything changed. Kira, the new manager, sent real emails, held real meetings, posted every record online. The HOA was actually transparent. Imagine that. Months later, I parked my new car in my garage, let the door rumble shut, and just stood there. No blinking cameras, no blue tape, just peace. And I realized it was never just about my garage. It was about not letting neighborly become an excuse for trampling someone's rights. Kira and I co-wrote a new policy. No forced access to private property without consent and a 2/3 vote. Passed unanimously. Now, every time I see that garage light click on, I smile. Because sometimes standing your ground isn't about being stubborn. It's about drawing the line and refusing to let anyone erase it. That's how I took on the HOA and learned, sometimes, you've got to remind people what the word community really means. So what do you think? Is standing up worth it? Or is rocking the boat just asking for more trouble? Drop your stories and your thoughts below, especially if you've ever stared down a clipboard in one. Let's hear where you stand on justice, neighbors, and drawing the line.